All right, it's the big story we're tracking for you this Wednesday. Suspended EMPD Chief Julius Mkhwanazi is set to appear before the Madlanga Commission from 9:30 this morning, so in 10 minutes' time. He was subpoenaed after his name came up repeatedly in allegations that he abused his position to facilitate criminal activity. Mkhwanazi is also accused of giving alleged criminal kingpin Vusimuzi Matlala improper access to the municipality's resources. To take you live to the Matlala Justice College and to Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo, who is following those proceedings. Ziyanda, very important testimony to a man who is central to serious allegations of corruption in Ekurhuleni. And we've just had some breaking news now, which is on the side of the screen for our viewers. The head of legal in Ekurhuleni now suspended while investigations into Mkhwanazi continue.
Absolutely, and this is a whole group or a network, or I'd say a group of people who are being looked into by the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Advocate Kemi Bihari is said to have been the one who took over 50% of the functions that actually were initially under the former head of employee relations, Xolani Ngciza, and it is the breaking news story this hour as I read out parts of that statement from the Ekurhuleni municipality, where they confirm that the head of legal and risk services, Advocate Kemi Bihari, has been placed on a precautionary suspension with full remuneration. Now, this follows, the statement says, a resolution of the Municipal Council taken on the 18th of November, which delegated the authority to the city manager to act in terms of the local government disciplinary regulations for senior managers 2010. So in line with Regulation 6.1 of these disciplinary regulations, the city manager, Mr. Kagiso Lerutla, considered whether a basis existed to implement a precautionary suspension. And so it goes on to talk about how Bihari was given an opportunity to submit in writing why he should not be placed on precautionary suspension, and thereafter a decision was taken to move on this. Now, this is still very critical, and still his name, Bihari's name that is likely to feature in today's testimony, Michelle, because it's unclear whether or not he had been pressured by the former city manager, who's now retired, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, whether Advocate Bihari was pressured by Mashazi, or did he also go work in cahoots with her to ensure that at all costs Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi is shielded from any kind of accountability. Lifting the suspension would fall under the head of Human Resources, Linda Klashega. She's been named as being part of this grouping that was ensuring that Mkhwanazi was always protected. Now, he is going to be an important factor insofar as that I'm talking about Advocate Kemi Bihari, that is, because there were two memoranda of understanding that were entered into illegally so with Vusimuzi Matlala's security company, Cat VIP Services. And so it's going to be important then, we'll still likely hear the name of Bihari when Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, the suspended Deputy Chief of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, when he takes the stand this morning, Michelle.
It absolutely will be, Ziyanda. And, you know, when I was telling our viewers that you were going to explain this web to us as we build up to the commission beginning at 9:30. It truly is a web, right? There are so many names. We've just heard from Senzo Mkhunu yesterday. This is the minister who's on special leave. The day before that, Dr. Imogen Mashazi has been testifying as well, and Julius Mkhwanazi was central to her evidence and the role she allegedly played in protecting him from various disciplinary and investigative measures. So what are the main questions that Julius Mkhwanazi needs to answer at the inquiry today?
Oh, Michelle, there is a barrage of questions that he needs to answer. It's those two memoranda of understanding that were seemingly going to be never ending, where Cat VIP Services was going to be actually taking over functions that belong to the state. For instance, drawing of blood at roadblocks. That's something that is a function that belongs to the EMPD. That's the first thing. The IPID report that was compiled in 2023 that led to his initial suspension, but the suspension then was lifted and he was then promoted promoted, all in 2023, that's going to be a topic of discussion, because the other allegation is that Mkhwanazi was meeting on the sidelines with the IPID officer, Thulani Makakula, in relation to this case. Why would this IPID officer be having secret meetings with Mkhwanazi? The third thing I can think of immediately is the picture of Mkhwanazi beaming on the screens here a few weeks ago when Witness D was testifying and talking, and Witness C as well, who dealt with the takedown of Vusimuzi cat Matlala, where he exits a white Golf GTI wearing an orange t-shirt, and this was the scene where copper theft was actually taking place. So he and other officers within the EMPD were committing crime using the cover of the badge. In fact, the fourth thing he'd have to answer to is how he is allegedly running a rogue unit of officers that are committing crime ranging from truck hijackings, the copper theft that I've mentioned, but also illegally, taking precious stones worth around 49 million rand from a lawful precious stone dealer. That's another allegation. But also, insofar as the details of that IPID report, they dealt specifically with that allegation that he signed off on the registering of private vehicles belonging to Vusimuzi cat Matlala and registering them as municipal vehicles, and we still, to this day, don't know what those vehicles would be used for. And this is important, Michelle, because ever since the 6th of July, there have been all kinds of stories coming forward, including how I came across a story recently of how, junior officers were sharing how Mkhwanazi had actually assisted them because, what was happening is that their seniors would deploy them to actually set up a roadblock in a particular space so that it would actually take all the attention to that particular area, while the criminals then transport any kinds of possibly illicit goods using another route where the police officers are not stationed. But also there's that letter that was very badly written, and Brigadier Mkhwanazi is also signed off on that, and that's the letter that is just saying to whom it may concern. It's not addressed to anyone in particular. And this letter, I'll recall very distinctly, the former head of employee relations, Xolani Ngciza, speaking about how that letter could be pulled out, and this was during the COVID-19 period, no less. Anyone could have pulled out that letter and claimed that they are an EMPD official. And there's Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi. He is in the room, Michelle, as we try and show you those visuals, and he is taking his seat. It is 28 minutes past 9 o'clock, and as you know, as per usual, we always begin at 9:30. So those are just the many things that he will have to actually respond to. And Witness D, you'll recall, actually saying that Mkhwanazi is an accessory to the crime of murder after they were called to a scene, both EMPD and SAPS officials, at this particular place where they tubed the suspect, and Mkhwanazi, the man who is in the room, allegedly instructed this particular officer to go and dispose of this body in a river. And it's very scary when you think about it, Michelle, because just not long ago, we had those 3 police officers at Henops River, and where we thought we were looking for 3 bodies, 5 bodies actually were recovered. And so, is this a modus operandi that syndicates are using? They kill people and dispose of them in rivers. So much to talk about, Michelle, and I'm lowering my voice because I'm acutely aware of the time at 29 minutes past 9 o'clock.
Quite right, Ziyanda. There he is, the suspended acting EMPD Chief, Julius Mkhwanazi. Ziyanda has just told us about the litany of very serious and chilling allegations he faces.